Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Aethlon Medical's channel with novel immunotherapies to combat cancer and life-threatening viral infections. Joining us, three members of the senior management team to kind of give us an intro to the company, starting with Jim. I'll pass it off to you.
Hi, everyone. We'd like to thank you in advance for your interest in Aethlon Medical and for taking the time to watch this introductory video on our company. My name is Jim Frakes, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Aethlon Medical. I would now like to introduce my colleagues, Guy Cipriani and Stephen LaRosa. Mr. Cipriani is Senior Vice President and Chief Business Officer of Aethlon and has served on our Board of Directors since June 2018. Over the last 24 years, Mr. Cipriani has held senior management roles in the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device industries, including with Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, and Cascadian Therapeutics. Guy holds an MBA from Northwestern University and a bachelor's degree in engineering with high honors from Rochester Institute of Technology. Stephen LaRosa, MD, is our Chief Medical Officer. Prior to joining Aethlon, Dr. LaRosa served as Vice President of Clinical Development of Entasis Therapeutics. He has been involved in industry-sponsored research for 25 years in roles including Principal Investigator, CRO Director, Medical Monitor, Senior Medical Advisor, CEC member, and DSMB member. As a lead clinical research physician for Eli Lilly, Steve led the phase 3 clinical trial of recombinant activated protein C, the only drug ever approved by the FDA for sepsis. He completed an internal medicine residency at the Cleveland Clinic and a fellowship in infectious disease at Massachusetts General Hospital. He holds active board certifications in internal medicine and infectious disease. In future videos, we anticipate presentations by our CEO, Charles Fisher Jr., MD, and by our Chief Scientific Officer, Lee Arnold, PhD. To give you a brief overview of their backgrounds, Dr. Fisher is a physician scientist with a distinguished career in both academia and industry spanning over 30 years. Prior to joining industry, Dr. Fisher served as professor and head of clinical care medicine at the Cleveland Clinic and has held professor, division chief, and director positions at University of California at Davis Medical Center, Case Western Reserve University, and the Cleveland Clinic. His research in sepsis, post-defense, and endothelial dysfunction led to his recruitment to Eli Lilly, where he led the Zygris global product team and successfully registered the first drug approved for the treatment of sepsis. He was then recruited to Abbott Laboratories as Vice President for Global Pharmaceutical Development, and among other accomplishments, led the registration of Humira. Other medical firsts include his contributions to the development of and later approval of Enbrel and Kineret. Dr. Fisher has numerous patents and publications to his credit. And Lee Arnold, PhD, recently joined us as Chief Scientific Officer. Dr. Arnold is a creative scientific leader with 36 years of accomplishments in molecularly targeted drug discovery. He earned a PhD in organic chemistry from the University of Alberta. He began his career in pharma research at Syntex Canada and then joined Pfizer, where he was the inventor of Tarceva. During his tenure at BASF, he established medicinal and combinatorial chemistry operations and initiated and led 2 multinational multidisciplinary projects in angiogenesis leading to Lefinibot. He then served as CSO for a number of smaller life science companies. Overall, Lee's inventive and leadership contributions in drug discovery and development to date have resulted in an approved drug and 16 additional development candidates, currently fueling 8 clinical trials in oncology, immunology, and virology. These achievements are documented in over 94 published patents and applications and more than 39 peer-reviewed publications. And now I would like to turn the presentation over to Guy Cipriani, who will provide a general overview of the company.
Thanks, Jim. So we're based in San Diego, California. We are developing the Hemopurifier. This is an example of what our device looks like. Resembles a hemodialysis cartridge, and essentially what we do is we flow the patient's blood through this device. We separate plasma, and we have a capture resin in the space outside the fibers where we can capture small molecules such as viruses and exosomes. So we're currently developing this hemopurifier to treat cancer and infectious disease. We have a breakthrough device designation with the FDA, and it's really for two uses. One is treating viruses, severe viral infections in patients for which there's no other treatment options, and the other is for removing exosomes in cancer patients. I think specifically that's for melanoma, if I'm correct there. So we have quite a lot of development history with this device. We've studied it in multiple global clinical studies. We've completed an early feasibility study. We've got emergency use patient data, and we have a total of 164 treatment uses with this device, and that is in 38 patients. So several patients had more than one treatment on the device. A lot of the early work has been done in virology and removing viruses, and so we have data in hepatitis C virus, HIV, SARS-CoV-2, and Ebola. That's primarily where the human clinical data has been. And we've done pretty extensive in vitro work in the lab to show that this technology can capture and remove Zika virus, Lassa virus, MERS, which is a coronavirus, cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr, herpes, herpes simplex, chikungunya virus, dengue, West Nile, smallpox, and other related viruses, H1N1 swine flu, H5N1 bird flu, monkeypox, and including a reconstructed Spanish flu virus of 1918. So a lot of data, both clinically and preclinically, with this device. In several cases, these studies were done in collaboration with the government of the United States or other non-government research institutes. We've recently established a subsidiary in Australia, which really offers a couple of benefits to the company. One of which is there's a very extensive network of clinical research institutes and principal investigators that can really offer significant assistance to us as we're developing our device in oncology. The other important feature of doing the clinical work in Australia is a very attractive R&D tax incentive program that the government of Australia offers. It's currently a 43.5% tax rebate on money that we spend in Australia, focused on R&D, focused on clinical development. So that's very attractive financially. And historically, the data that's been generated in Australia has been accepted by the FDA. So we think this is a way to really jumpstart our development in oncology, and we're excited to get that program going. We're currently listed on NASDAQ. We have approximately $17.5 million in cash as of December 31st. We have a market cap today of about $7.5 million. And with that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Dr. Stephen LaRosa.
Thank you, Guy. First, I'd like to talk about our clinical program in virology. We have an ongoing clinical trial in severe COVID-19 infection in India. This is being conducted by Medanta Medicity Hospital in Delhi. They have enrolled one patient in the trial to date, and they continue to be open and actively screening for further patients. We are also have a second site that is submitted for ethics board approval to participate in the study. We've published prior data that despite the mutation of the virus, that we have bound in vitro all active mutants to date with our technology. Also in India, we're currently interviewing sites to participate in an oncology trial. We are planning a new clinical trial in oncology that's going to include multiple tumor types. And the goal of this study will be to build our safety database and also to give us data to plan future efficacy trials. We're working closely with a CRO called NAMSA, which has extensive experience in conducting clinical trials. particularly in Australia as well as in the US. This study in oncology will commence first in Australia and then subsequently in the US. We also have an active research and development program here at Aethlon where we're identifying other potential therapeutic targets for our Hemopurifier. I'd like to thank you for watching our video and hope that you will tune in to our future episodes. Thank you.
Well, on that note, we'll pass the question out to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section below, and consider subscribing, because as that news hits the wire, we're going to continue to update you here. But on the note, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.